Trump's cognitive decline isn't as bad as it seems. It's worse.
What does that mean?
Tonight, I'm jumping back into the dark side of TikTok, and what I found will give you nightmares. Welcome back, family. Before the video starts, I just want to thank all my channel members for the support. We're around 8,000 subscribers off of 100,000 subscribers. If you're seeing this, smash that subscribe button and join the family. Let's go.
This lioness making a beeline towards this guy is a clear indication that this was a big mistake. He's not going to make it out. This is a video of an incident that just very recently happened on December 1st in Brazil, showing a man shimmying himself down a tree. You then can see that this is in fact a lion exhibit because this lioness makes a beeline directly towards him. For backstory, the man that chose to put himself into this position was a 19-year-old with schizophrenia and dreams of becoming a big cat trainer by the name of Gerson. Gerson scaled the 18-foot wall on the outside of the enclosure before latching onto this tree and lowering himself inside. There he appeared to second-guess himself, but continued to lower himself. The lioness then grabbed him, pulled him down. Gerson attempted to run for a little bit, but was quickly subdued by the lion, and no, he did not survive. And for those wondering about the safety of the lioness, no, she's not being put down, she's being closely monitored right now. This is a very tragic event indeed, but this is something that never should have happened, and again, we're probably never going to know why this guy did what he did.
What's your guys' thought on that? Do you guys think they should put the lioness down? I mean, in my opinion, he did jump into the enclosure, but he also did have schizophrenia. So I don't really know who to blame for that one, but I don't believe the lioness should be put down. Let me know your thoughts on that.
Raccoon just got drunk and passed out in a liquor store bathroom. So this raccoon broke into a Virginia liquor store and decided to go on a drinking spree. The raccoon ransacked the store and left a trail of broken bottles behind it, and it was eventually found passed out beside the toilet in the liquor store's bathroom. The raccoon's just like me, for real. After the incident, the raccoon was safely released back into the wild.
They have been saying that raccoons lately have been getting domesticated, basically meaning that they're gonna be more like pets, or they can be more like pets now. Crazy stuff.
They just dropped new footage of Epstein's Island. This shit is eerie as hell. First of all, this had bathtubs outside. We got a picture of this Panasonic old ass phone. Nah, I don't want no redaction. We got NY office, Darren cell, Rich office, Mike cell. Who the redacted? Was that the Pope? Deep fried. Some weird ass artifacts. Only God knows what was in those structures. This one was weird as hell. You got a container filled with color pencils. What adult do you know that would go to Epstein's Island to use color pencils? Paired with the notebook on the side, I feel like these were for the children. Nasty. This nigga was probably trying to keep them occupied before they did other things to these children. Now the next photo I'm about to show you almost made me shit myself. What the fuck is this? Is this some type of doctor's office? Bro, what the? I don't even want to know the operations that happened in this room. It was about 200 photos and about 12 to 13 videos that they dropped. Now, will they release more? 85% of y'all are saying, yeah, they will, which I think they have to. It's only gonna get worse from here, and I'm here for it. Even though this is like the least of my concerns, because that nigga Trump is damn near about to put us at war with Venezuela. No new wars though. Drop all of them shits unredacted.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys were there for the stream, but I streamed literally yesterday, and we saw that on stream, and I remember I was looking at it and like thinking to myself, like, why does he need the chair, and what are the faces on the wall? I'm hoping this is actually like a dentist setup, because it looks like a dentist setup. Like, what else would you do here? Nah, I'm not even gonna think about that, but like, what are these heads? This is apparently real footage of Epstein Island. I just want to make a statement real quick. I am starting to live stream 2 to 3 times a week. So if you guys want to catch me live reacting to these videos, join my live stream.
The Doomsday plane just landed in Washington, D.C. today. We might be cooked. If you didn't already know, this is the Boeing Doomsday, and the sole purpose of this plane is if America's getting nuked, it allows the president to go up in the air and essentially run the country from up there so he doesn't get killed on the ground. The last time this plane was actually used was 9/11. World War III might be here, folks, and you know you're cooked when you open TikTok and the sports edit pages are posting military edits. Kinda tough though.
That right there looks just like the profile of a leg bag for a urinary catheter. Why would he have a urinary catheter? There's a couple of different reasons. I'm a physical therapist with a doctorate in my field and 14 years experience treating geriatric patients just like the president. I've been out sick today, but everything's fine. I went to Walter Reed and got a perfect MRI. It could be just typical incontinence as the result of aging, which is a common thing to see happen where a person loses control of their bowel and bladder, not because of an illness, but simply because of getting older. Another reason to have a leg bag with incontinence is because of a stroke. You've lost the brain's connection to your bowel or bladder. And a third reason could be Alzheimer's and or dementia. Dementia pokes holes in all of the automatic behavior and awareness that's been built into your brain and your body since you were a child. Whenever I'm seeing a patient with dementia, regardless of how severe it is, a lot of times I can tell how far along the dementia process is based on whether or not the patient is aware of when they need to empty their bowel or bladder. So if he's wearing a leg bag, it could be he is simply not aware, or his nervous system is no longer communicating to his brain that his bladder is full and needs to be emptied. No matter the reason, it's a sign of clear physical and or cognitive decline. Like I've said before, I honestly think he has 5 to 7 months left with us when you look at all of his health issues and now all these symptoms and evidence showing up that he might also have significant cognitive issues or Alzheimer's, dementia, that sort of thing. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Dude, whoever is doing Trump's like medical history or just medical anything is definitely lying, dude. I've seen a video, them saying that Trump's body fat is like 4.8%. That is crazy. Just for example, just so you guys know, Conor McGregor's body fat percentage is between 6 to 8%, most likely 8%. So how the hell is Trump's body fat 4%? Humans just always feel the need to just feed animals. I'm like, dude, just throw it. Like, why do you need to hold it in your hand?
Stay nice and warm in here.
This man turned the most dangerous animal in Africa into a family pet. In a continent with lions and leopards, elephants and buffalo, a whale with legs murks more people than all of them combined. But when Army Major and farmer Marius Els found an orphan baby hippo alone in a river, that didn't matter. A heavy flood had washed the only couple-month-old baby away from his herd, and Marius rescued him. The baby was so young, it still had to be bottle-fed, which meant Africa's most homicidal mammal now saw him as its mother. The feeling was mutual, as Marius saw the hippo he named Humphrey as a son. They'd be seen playing together, and Humphrey seemed to have the personality of a giant brolic boulder of a bulldog. As he got bigger, everyone warned Marius of the danger, but he didn't care. They had a bond no one else could understand, and as videos of him riding Humphrey went viral, they were forced to reluctantly believe him. Humphrey was like a one-ton lapdog that would come running at the sound of his foster father's voice. Now there were some red flags. One time Humphrey got out and held a man and his grandson hostage in a tree for 2 hours, but luckily Marius was able to call him off using his voice and an apple. And at that point, everyone including Marius's wife lost trust in Humphrey. But Marius never did. He still trusted him enough to hand brush the same teeth that can divide a crocodile in half. For 6 years, Marius stood by his adopted baby, and one day his lifeless body was found in the same river he rescued Humphrey from, with several deep bite wounds. The hippo he saw as a son, apparently Norman baited him and horrifically mauled him, likely drowning him in the process, and Humphrey would be euthanized as well. Moral of the story, the hippo hippoed.
Well, that took a dark turn.
Have you seen this bulletproof train that the North Korean dictator is riding around in? It's bulletproof, it's huge, and...
How did you know it's bulletproof? Did he shot bullets to the train and he stopped them?
It's what the North Korean leader uses to leave the country because he's kind of afraid of flying, or at least that's the rumor. Kim Jong-un hasn't left the country in 3 years, but he just decided to do so to go to Russia to visit President Vladimir Putin, and eventually made it to Eastern Russia.
I'm not sure how long that train took because North Korea do really have like power outages like all the time. So when I was escaping North Korea and when I was on the train, it took 2 days to actually like travel 450 to 500 miles. That's literally from LA to San Francisco. So you can actually drive it within 6 hours, right?
This train only goes like 30 or 40 miles an hour max speed because they want it to be extra safe.
Interesting. I feel like it's not he wanted to be extra safe, but I feel like the train doesn't have that much power, you know, to actually move that fast. I don't know.
Tiananmen Square, the man versus the tank in China, all these years later, we still wonder what happened to this man. What was his fate? I think reflexively, we imagine that it was a bleak story, a sorrowful story. But what if his story didn't end in a dungeon or even a deep freeze? What if it was a more ordinary ending or even a heroic ending? It's possible that he could have been spirited off the scene by bureaucrats that were a little more soft-hearted, that saw the pandemonium of this situation and wanted to preserve life. Because in times like this, like, evil does sharpen its teeth, but then there's always heroic people who arrive on the scene and sharpen their resolve.
Oh yeah, that dude definitely died.
Is the University of Minnesota covering up a student's death? Yesterday, there was a video uploaded to TikTok calling out the university for trying to cover things up.
University of Minnesota is doing some heinous things to cover up a student death. Basically, a student committed by jumping down a stairwell in the dorms. The college asked RAs and CAs, who are students, to clean up the blood and the fact that they're not taking accountability or addressing what they did, even though people have brought attention to it, is truly disgusting, and I think more people should definitely be talking about that.
This video did not have any sources cited, and when I went to go look online for information, nothing appeared. A lot of people who live in Minnesota and even go to the university did not hear about anything happening until this TikTok was uploaded. So I decided to go to where this incident supposedly happened to see if I could find any witnesses and get any information. It turns out this did happen, and although a death has not been confirmed, a student did jump down the stairs and was taken away by paramedics. There is no information about this incident online yet, and the university has yet to say anything about it. The only thing the university has done so far is send this email to students about mental health. This has left many people and students confused and outraged, claiming that the university doesn't care about its students and is keeping secrets from them. After talking with some staff at the University of Minnesota, they claim that they haven't released any information due to privacy reasons, and that it's to protect the people involved. Some people have taken to the university's side and have said that this is an extremely sensitive situation and should be handled carefully, or that the university shouldn't say anything at all out of respect for the family.
I just watched all 4 episodes of the Diddy documentary series, and you guys, this one had my jaw on the floor. It's called Sean Combs: The Reckoning, and when I saw the executive producer was the king of petty 50 Cent himself, as well as read the director Alexandria Stapleton's vision, I just knew it was going to be good. It promised never before seen footage, testimonies, and they delivered. Because just imagine hiring an entire camera crew to allegedly try to rebuild this facade of being a good person, all because you're about to be put on trial for crimes that will put you away for a long time. And months after getting arrested, one of your biggest ops got a hold of those tapes. And what they do with it is make an expose documentary. Oh, and baby, they exposed him. Not only from the footage, but also the people who really knew him during this time. They joined the chat and shit got messy. Now, what I really want to know is what did they have to do to get all of this footage, as well as people coming forward? Like, did we really just get a confession of what really happened to Tupac that night? I mean, I feel like a lot of people already knew that he had something to do with it, but with this confession plus the paper trail from his former business partner, I don't know, I'm convinced. And every single controversy that got brushed under the rug, or every situation that we didn't have enough answers for, almost all of them were covered. But nothing prepared me for what I was going to hear in episodes 3 and 4, especially when they dove deeper into Cassie's situation and what happened to Aubrey O'Day. And in that case, I have to say, allegedly. But even in the earlier episodes, when you heard what happened to Joy, Kim Porter, and Misa, like, that is just such a sad and fucked up situation. And nothing pissed me off more than those jurors. Nah, because if I were them, I would have kept that shit anonymous. Especially that man that clearly does not understand the cycle of abuse. The way I felt watching this one was probably even angrier than when I watched Surviving That Creepy Ass Prisoner. And that is only because he went to prison, but in this case, he may be in prison, but not for what he should be there for, in my opinion. Okay, but I'll stop ranting now. If you ask me, Sean Combs: The Reckoning was well put together and brought a lot more information to the table. Between the stories being told and the footage that was brought to light, and like I said, Kirk Burrows' paper trail that he had, it's insane. And that's coming from someone who always tries to find nuances in situations, but for this, there ain't none. There ain't no devil's advocate to play here. But anyways, if you've seen it, I want to know your thoughts, and if you haven't, again, it's called Sean Sean Combs: The Reckoning, and you can watch it right now on Netflix.
I did watch the first episode, not the full first episode, like half of the first episode, and I was kind of like, damn, they really got Diddy like unseen footage. Yo, I know that man Diddy is rolling in his cell right now, just mad.
I say things to the borderline like, oh my God, you're in trouble.
You got close when he offered to take you shopping.
Yeah, you see, Amika's in the same shirt. He's out there in the same shirt. This is not Photoshop. This really happened. Obviously was not offended by what I was offended by. This is what I'm saying, bro.
When he said the shopping line, in real life, what did you say?
He was like, yo, you hot now. Now we gotta hang out. You take you shopping and I get you some flash. And I was looking and I was like, let me just move away from him because I'm gonna mess up the wedding.
It was someone's wedding?
It was Chris Lighty's wedding. Nori's there. Nori knows this. And I looked at him like, yo. You heard what he just said, right? Certain things they let it go by because it's Puff. It's like he wasn't like in the closet, he was like in the hallway.
Now it was in the hallway. We saw the video. We saw that video.
It comes out later, you're like, that's not the closet, that's the hallway. He didn't give a fuck.
Bro, I do not know what Diddy was thinking, but the last person you want to take shopping is 50 Cent. Something about that just seems so funny. Like, I could see why 50 would react the way that he did.
I'm going to be honest, the full clip of this video is really not that bad visually, but I just want to be safe here and make sure this video doesn't get taken down. You guys just watched shows a young woman walking out of a kitchen carrying a pot full of boiling water. She clearly, by her body language, looks very upset. She then walks up to this man dressed in blue and promptly throws that boiling water on him. My research, this is an incident that took place in Russia either in late 2023 or early 2024 when these group of friends got together to have a party. During this party, the man wearing blue with this white tie across around his neck throws a smoke bomb into the kitchen of this woman's apartment. She then gets very angry, and that's what prompts her to retaliate with a prank of her own, dumping the boiling water on her. Both of these actions are obviously very stupid. They're not the smartest, but I would argue that boiling water is a little bit disproportionate here because it really doesn't take a high temperature of water to cause instantaneous burns. They pretty much occur at 160 degrees Fahrenheit plus, which is well below the actual boiling point of water. Not really too sure what happened after this incident occurred, but I would guess that this guy immediately got third-degree burns, probably went to the hospital, and now he's going to have permanent scarring on his face. So, pretty crazy overall. As always, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Drop a comment letting me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Respectfully, he definitely should not have thrown smoke bombs in her house, but she should not have also thrown hot boiling water on him.
Give you guys a little bonus. Alright, that's about as raunchy as I'm gonna get.
That was just one of the many strange encounters that led to the deaths of 28 people over the course of 9 years.
What the fuck? Alex, don't fuck with me. Dude, Tony, what the fuck? Is it?
It started in 2009 when the Abaddon Hotel was rented out to a Halloween attraction company called Hell House.
Nobody knew what to make of the YouTube video, and then the 911 tape leaked, and that confused people even more.
Their opening night would last all of 2 hours before 15 people either vanished off the face of the earth or were found dead.
911, what's your emergency? Oh, it's hurting. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Please hurry, I don't want to.
The authorities would say that it was a technical malfunction, something that went wrong down inside of the basement, but the Hell House crew recorded everything that they did. This all comes from the found footage horror movie Hell House LLC. It is one of my all-time favorites. And it's one of those movies that if you go into it blind, you're gonna be Googling if it's real afterwards. So if you would like to watch it for yourself, once again, it is called Hell House LLC and it's currently streaming over on Tubi. And for those of you that do want more after the first movie, you've got 5 movies in total, so you've got something to binge.
Trump's cognitive decline isn't as bad as it seems. It's worse.
What does that mean?
Unlike Biden, who was actually coherent at one point, Donald's whole career has been defined by not making sense. So it was easy to tell when Joe started to get sleepy, and just as easy to write things off as typical Trump when this was the standard since 2016.
I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
But now we're seeing something new. Forgetting the Fed chair you appointed and trade deals you signed isn't normal, even for him. Yet 6 months into his second term, it seems like he never knows what's going on.
I know nothing about it. Know nothing about it. I don't know. I don't know much about it other than I launched it.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know.
That's why you've never seen him explain what's actually in the big beautiful bill, and why he's signing executive orders he's clearly never read. To be fair, policy was never his strong suit, but this goes way beyond that. Because even walking in a straight line seems to have become a struggle. And now he's telling stories that aren't even physically possible.
Although my uncle was at MIT, one of the great professors, Kaczynski was one of his students. Do you know who Kaczynski was? I said, what kind of a student was he, Uncle John? Dr. John Trump? He said, what kind of a student? And then he said, seriously good. He said he'd go around correcting everybody.
Combine that with tweets that are more deranged than ever, and the idea that prices could go down more than 100%, and you paint a pretty disturbing picture. Not of some businessman who isn't the best with words, but of an erratic old narcissist, losing his grip on reality.
But when Hitler made his speech at the Eiffel Tower, I would say that wasn't exactly ideal.
Let's take a look at this dementia patient walking toward Air Force One. I'm a physical therapist with a doctorate in my field and 14 years experience working in home health care treating geriatric patients just like the president. You could see at several points there, Melania Trump was actually redirecting the president's direction as he walked. When he noticed the photographer to their left, his attention was drawn to the left and he deviated from the path. Melania got him back on it. The same thing happened when they came up on the officer saluting him at the foot of the steps. He doesn't salute, which is further indication that he has weakness on the right side. And Melania once again has to direct him back to the path that takes them straight to the foot of the steps. One thing that surprised me is that he was successfully able to close an umbrella. He has definitely struggled with this in the past, but notice that he didn't wrap it up and secure it. He simply squeezed it together and took it inside. And the last thing to notice is that at the top of the steps, he looks around inside like he's never been there before. Like he doesn't know exactly where to go. Like this isn't his aircraft. This is typical forgetfulness of early or mid-stage dementia. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I think he's got 3 to 5 months left in the land of the living when you consider frontotemporal dementia, possible stroke or TIA, combined with probably heart failure, chronic kidney disease. There's a lot of stuff going on with this guy.
Y'all think Trump really have dementia? I mean, I can't really see it, to be honest. Like, yes, he was kind of like walking uneven or stumbling, but you know what I'm saying? He's an old dude, you know what I'm saying? He's getting to 80 plus years old. There's always going to be joint problems, knee problems, walking problems. Like, there's nothing new. I don't necessarily think that gives him dementia.
Ex-NVIDIA engineer warns that the robots can crush your skull. So most people these days can barely handle a Tuesday, much less a hydraulic death hug from one of these frickin' monsters. And what's terrifying is that they're only in the rudimentary stages of their existence, like a baby learning to walk, but instead of falling on their face, they're learning calculus, they're learning object manipulation, they're learning how to open your front door while you're asleep. I personally have to admit how primitive I am in this world. When that little pop-up comes up, update iCloud storage or some shit like that, I don't know what the fuck that means. And we saw it in movies. I think Linkin Park did a song about it. But if they achieve full sentience, then they're going to have full hegemony of the world. And we're going to be left arguing on Reddit why didn't we see this shit happening? Why didn't we see it coming?
Do you know that Americans have a distinctive lane, and it's one of the first things that the CIA trains their recruits to fix. In fact, we're known to be way more casual when we stand, putting our weight on one foot, slouching, or simply leaning. This is way more different compared to other cultures that emphasize the upright posture whenever they stand. Think about Europe as well as Japan. And according to sociologists, this is because America's identity from the very beginning centers around being ordinary and not extraordinary. For example, Europe has a really interesting concept that ties your posture to your class that's not really seen in the United States. For them, slouching was seen as low class and standing upright was seen as refinement. Many will argue that America went the complete opposite direction, where we slouch, lean, and wear casual clothing to almost everything. And the word for this is called a low context, low power distance culture. culture. This means that most interactions are informal, hierarchies are uncomfortable, and most people simply choose comfort over being strict. And while the US emphasizes approachability, other countries like Korea or Japan emphasizes respect. And that's why it's pretty normal to see people lean on objects as well as slouch in the United States, and it's something that we often don't see in other countries.
Donald Trump was just caught on camera looking lost as he aimlessly walked around a ballroom in Japan with the Prime Minister. She literally had to guide him around the room, and the Trump team is not happy that this clip went viral. Just take a look. What? Yeah, that's the Prime Minister of Japan saying, "Let's go, Grandpa. Why are you standing there?" She had to guide him around this room in the ceremony that they were hosting for him in Japan. And as I said, the Trump team is not happy that this video went viral. One of their Twitter accounts responded by saying, "Why didn't you share the full video, dumbass?" So clearly they're upset, but the full video doesn't make it look any better. We'll just take a quick look at some of it and you can see what I mean. He has no idea what's going on. He has no idea. The soldier had to guide him at one point because he was just aimlessly walking around. If that was Joe Biden, Republicans would be freaking out, but they're not because it's Trump. So clearly this has gotten under their skin, and it would be such a shame if you shared that clip around and it went more viral.
Yeah, these are all pretty new photos and footages of Trump, and like a lot of people believe that like he's going on the same path as Joe Biden. It's a little bit ironic, but it is very interesting. There's just a lot of footage going around on the internet right now of him like sleeping and stuff.
I just learned about this lady who was so afraid of being buried alive, it took her 110 years for her to finally be buried. Hannah Beswick was born in 1688, and she developed an extreme fear of premature burial. Now, this started to become a common fear among people back then, so much so that doctors would even test various methods to ensure that people were actually dead, such as pouring vinegar or pepper in their mouth to see a reaction, or taking a hot poker and sticking it in their rectum. I'm not a doctor, but that sounds like a good time to me. Anyways, Hannah actually had a very valid reason to be afraid because at her own brother's funeral, she started to notice that his eyelids were flickering right before they closed the lid. The family physician, Charles White, confirmed that he was actually alive, and he woke up a few days later and lived for like several more years. So when Hannah herself died in 1758, she asked in her will that Charles keeps her unburied body until he was very certain that she was dead. Now this is where the details get a little fuzzy. It was widely claimed that she left him £25,000 in her will to embalm her body and keep checking for signs of life before burying her. However, researchers say that she only left him £100 and an additional $400 for the funeral expenses. By embalming her body, he got to pocket the entire £600. A third theory says that he wasn't even in the will at all. To this day, the actual contents of her will is still being disputed, but due to Charles's weird obsession with mummies and embalming people, it's assumed that he just couldn't resist because he even kept her on display and let people come to his house to see her. Eventually, Charles died and Hannah's body passed through 2 different owners, and 110 years later, the body ended up in possession of Manchester University, who officially declared Hannah dead and gave her a proper burial in an unmarked grave. So, that's cool, I guess.
Okay, you need to see this clip. This is Donald Trump at the royal court shaking hands like usual. But then this guy shows up and completely steals the show. He grabs Trump's hand and doesn't let go to show that he is in complete control of this situation. And as you can see, what he says here completely rattles the president. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, he pulls a stack of pictures out of his pocket. He says a few words here, seemingly savoring this moment, and everybody in the back is wondering what the hell is going on. He shows the images to the president and the prince, and Trump immediately wants to take these pictures away from him. And then the mystery man and the prince share a laugh while Trump is just staring in disbelief. He tucks what he has away in his pocket and then snatches the other stack of papers from his hands, but he just laughs it off because I'm pretty sure he has his own copies. It looks like Trump is scrambling to explain himself, but they're obviously not buying it. If anybody knows who this guy is, or if you know how to read lips, would be pretty sweet if you could decipher what they're saying in this video.
Definitely wasn't that crazy, and this dude was definitely overreacting.
I need to share with you what I've seen people have found so far regarding the Epstein emails, because they are not even 3 days old as of this recording, and it is insane. Epstein saying, I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body. The Kremlin disguising a $100 million real estate deal with Epstein to manipulate Trump. Epstein talking mortgage fraud regarding Trump's Mar-a-Lago. Epstein repeatedly mocking Trump as well as Alan Dershowitz. Epstein meeting with Trump and Prince Andrew in 2019 during his presidency. Deepak Chopra telling Epstein he felt connected to Woody Allen. Qatar. Epstein suggesting a war council to help Trump with legal problems in New York, making fun of Trump again. Epstein hanging at Trump Tower in 2016. Epstein teaching Russians and Putin specifically how to manipulate Trump. Epstein talking to Peter Thiel. Epstein openly saying Trump was at his house with a victim for hours. Also openly saying that Trump knows about the girls. One of Epstein's clients saying that they don't want to run into Trump at Epstein's house, so they're going to wait outside until he's done. Epstein having Thanksgiving with Trump during his first presidency. New York Times journalist working around Epstein. They had sat on evidence that Epstein tried to offer them regarding Trump. Michael Wolff strategizing with Epstein on how to capitalize on Trump's antics regarding this. Former Secretary of Treasury emailing Epstein like they're buddies, and the U.S. Special Envoy to Syria, Tom Barak, emailing from Epstein. If this is only days into the release of these tens of thousands of emails, what else is in here, and what are in the files?
Dude, did they finally release the Epstein files? I'm about to look that up right now, honestly. Well, I mean, Google's not trying to give me a clear answer, so we're just about to ask ChatGPT. Did they release the Epstein files?
Yes, significant portions of the Epstein files have indeed been released. For example, on December 3rd, 2025, the U.S. House Oversight Committee shared new photos and videos from Epstein's private estate, including eerie details like a dentist-style chair and cryptic notes. They also released over 20,000 pages of documents like flight logs and court records. Additionally, the Epstein Files Transparency Act was signed into law, requiring the Attorney General to release all unclassified documents by mid-December. So, while a lot has been uncovered, more revelations are expected soon.
Oh wow, so they're saying that they're going to release way more documents in mid-December. So around mid-December or even this week, we might just honestly do a Epstein Files deep dive. And if anything, when they release the new ones, we'll just do a part 2. So like, I'll say by the end of this week or sometime next week, we're going to do an Epstein Files deep dive. I'm going to live stream it. Be there. I'll let y'all know when I have a better day planned. It's going to be interesting.
Trump and Maduro just had the final phone call before war breaks out. Yesterday, Maduro and Trump argued over his terms of stepping down. He wanted 18 months. Trump wanted it to happen this week, immediately. With Trump reiterating that if you don't step down, we will invade you. This is not about terrorism. This is about Venezuela's largest oil reserve in the world. Which is why Trump is trying to get Maduro to leave and set up a pro-US government instead of bombing the country and screwing up all the oil. But Maduro's not gonna leave, and instead he's training all civilians in the country to fight back, using Vietnam-type tactics to make the country ungovernable. And Trump the other day closed the Venezuelan airspace on Twitter, something that's never happened before, closing the entire country's airspace just like that. Maduro also wanted a full pardon, he wanted full amnesty, and he wanted to be able to flee to either China, Russia, or Iran. Trump basically said, step down now, figure it out, and that's the only way you can maybe get out.
About this for a while now, and I feel like today is the day. Sorry guys, Trump didn't survive an assassination attempt. He pulled off a brilliant and incredibly effective publicity stunt, and I can prove it. Trump said, and I quote, "The bullet pierced the upper part of his right ear." Let's be clear, a 5.56 NATO round fired from 130 yards away travels at 3,000 feet per second. I spoke directly to my special forces buddies who maintained that the round used would have shred flesh, fractured bone, and left a substantial crater. But there's no hole, no swelling. This is not survivable without any real damage. And no Secret Service reaction for 5 full seconds. This was not a failed assassination. This was a successful setup. Trump didn't duck. He didn't run. Instead, against Secret Service protocol, they let him get up. He faced the camera, raised his fist, and yelled, "Fuck fight like he was on WrestleMania. That's not instinct, that's direction. Real assassination attempts create total chaos. You watch Reagan's, Ford's, even JFK's. What about when the man in the blue blazer grabbed the press corps and moved them into the line of fire for the photo op? Have you seen that? This was rehearsed. Now let's talk data. Before the shooting, Trump was eating shit in the polls, especially with independents coming in at around 40%. But after the shooting, he jumped up to over 50%. And in some swing states, he made double-digit gains overnight. It's not coincidence, it's narrative control. He needed a reset, and this gave him the hero arc that he needed, because he couldn't win on his own record. If Trump were truly a threat to the system, he'd be gone. But as MAGA and independents alike are now learning, he is the system. And this attempt was just the performance of a man who ran out of policy and needed mythology. So this wasn't an attack. It was a story, written and directed by the deep state and starring Donald Trump. Don't fall for it. Tag someone who still thinks this is real. Let's talk facts, not feelings. Peace, blessings, and shine the fuck on.
Before midnight on August 20th, 2012, a 19-year-old college student named Rose Marr and her best friend, 19-year-old Elizabeth Nass, walked down Main Street in their hometown of Ellicott City, Maryland. It was their last night together before they each would head back to college in separate states. They decided to grab a few beers, despite being underage, head on over to their favorite hangout spot, a train trestle that ran over Main Street. A train trestle is literally a bridge, but for trains. This train trestle was not like some secret daredevil hideout spot. Lots of kids in town, including Rose and Elizabeth, had been up here many, many times. And while there was an active train track that ran across it, the ledge on the trestle where everybody would sit when they were up there was several feet away from the tracks, kind of safely out of the way. You could be up there looking down over the town, and a train could literally pass right by you and not affect you. So Elizabeth and Rose climbed up onto the train trestle and took their seats along the ledge, safely away from the tracks, and then they cracked open a few beers and began talking about their upcoming semesters and what they were looking forward to and really how much they were going to miss each other. And then at some point, Rose pulled out her phone and she took a photo of her and Elizabeth's feet dangling off the trestle. She posted that photo to Twitter, and then as soon as she hit post, she and Elizabeth heard this loud screeching sound coming from right behind them. And when they turned around to see what it was, something huge smashed into them, and then it went black. That loud screeching sound was the sound of a train passing by right behind them. But remember, the tracks are set far enough back that, the train, it couldn't hit them. The train was not the thing that hit these two girls. Instead, it was something truly unfortunate that happened to them. When that train passed by the girls, it partially derailed. Several of these cars basically toppled over to their sides. And some of those cars that toppled over were carrying thousands of pounds of coal. And these were open cars. And the coal smashed into Rose and Elizabeth and fully buried them. It was like they were under an avalanche, but not of snow, of coal. And so by the time the girls were pulled out of the coal, they were already dead. Rose and Elizabeth were the only two fatalities from this derailment. Their families would later sue the railroad company alleging negligence, and each family would receive a settlement, though the exact amounts were never disclosed.
Yes, that is a robot dog with Mark Zuckerberg's head. And yes, it's pooping a printed image. The artist known as Beeple created the robots, called Regular Animals, featured at Art Basel's 010 space, an exhibit of digital art during Miami Art Week.
They're constantly taking pictures and sort of like reinterpreting the world through the lens of these different sort of like characters. They're sort of taking the prints and sort of like reinterpreting the world through the eyes of sort of like Andy Warhol as how Picasso saw it. And Elon and Zuckerberg are another sort of characters in this, and we're increasingly seeing the world through the lens of how they would like us to see it, because they control these very powerful algorithms, and they have unilateral control over how we see the world in many ways. The robots will continue to function, but they will only take pictures and sort of like develop these memories, and the memories will be logged on the sort of blockchain, because I think that's a great use for this technology. But they will only be doing that for 3 years. And so the idea there is to, again, look at them more like animals that have a finite sort of like lifespan.
And the exhibit created quite a bit of buzz. Beeple says the robot sold out within an hour of opening.
I find them kind of charming and cute, which I wasn't expecting. I saw the Mark Zuckerberg one and the Picasso one go up and almost boop noses, and that made me laugh, yeah.
I think it's brilliant, and I think it's, I'm happy to see it. And for me, it elicited a lot of laughter.
The reaction's been pretty good. It's been pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely been, I think it's something where it's very hard for you to just like see this and walk past and be like, okay, yeah, I've seen that. It's like, okay, come on, you've not seen that. But I think it is something you will see more. It's called regular animals because in the future, these will be regular animals. And I'm always trying to make art, not for now, but for the future.
That woman say she found that charming and cute. Dude, nothing about that was charming and cute, bro. That was terrifying. Those robots looked way too realistic. It was too hyper realistic. Me personally, I'd be terrified looking at that, but that's just me.
Thank you all for watching this here video.